Hello, it's Dr. Cortex here, and you're listening to Raw Dogs, one of my favorite podcasts. So keep listening. Who knows what you'll find out?
Pretty good.
Wait, there was a movie attached
There was
to
a
it?
Ratchet and Clank movie. They released it in theaters, I think.
Yeah, they did.
Wait, why did you
didn't
go and see that in theaters?
Nobody did. Nobody did.
But
they used the cutscenes from that movie in the newest Ratchet and Clank movie or video
in the game.
not this one that's coming out.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Raw Dogs. This is the continuation of our Naughty Dog episode, our two-parter, and this might be days after the original if you're one of our wonderful, beautiful Patreon supporters. Otherwise, this might be a long time afterwards. And in that case, we're still drunk from the episode before. Go back and check that out if you want to see the transition, because we're there. We were just talking about Ratchet and Clank because we have a Game Informer here from, what do we got? It's April 2004. And they're talking about Sony's Fab 4 returning with Ratchet and Clank and Jak and Daxter. So, yeah, we were discussing some of the Ratchet and Clank movie, and apparently it's hot garbage. I haven't seen it.
Well, the reason
I also have not.
The reason it came up is because of Rift Apart that's coming out soon for the PlayStation 5.
It looks good.
I'm hoping that one of the dimensions that they go to is actually Jak and Daxter.
I am still on the train of not believing in video game movies.
I don't know. I think that's reaching, though, because the Jak and Daxter world is owned by Naughty Dog still.
Is it?
Yeah. Naughty Dog owns Jak and Daxter.
Even though it's Insomniac? No, it's not.
No. Insomniac owns
Insomniac is
Ratchet and Clank.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just excited for that Uncharted movie because there's so much of that story they didn't tell.
Which Uncharted movie?
I
1, 2, 3, 4?
No, they're
No, the one with Tom Holland and
no, that's I thought you were making an actual.
I'm an
they're
ass.
basically.
No, I like Tom Holland as an actor a lot. I don't see him as Nathan Drake.
Never.
but a young Nathan
Is
Drake.
that a real thing?
Yeah, Tom
Yeah,
Holland
this
is
is-
Nathan.
Wahlberg is
yeah.
going to be Sully.
that kind of.
No, I'm
Whatever.
fine.
I don't think Mark Wahlberg is a bad actor.
I can get behind that
I
too.
don't
Also,
either,
if
but
Mark
it's-
Wahlberg is embracing like I'm the older guy, good for you.
I
Because
just hope he grows his mustache out. That's really all I care
I wish
about.
Tom Cruise could be like, I'm the older guy. It's like, nope, I'm dating a 30-year-old.
if Tom Selleck weren't ancient,
I need to
That'd
run
be
for
silly.
at least 20 minutes in my movies.
Yeah, sprint full speed. Welcome back to Raw Dogs. This is Brad, and we have the regular cast of zany characters here.
it's me,
Ayo.
Dr. D.
And Nick.
And Dominic, the
And-
two guys who
Hey.
don't have nicknames yet, but we're waiting on it.
I don't
We're
have a
working on it.
nickname
Leave
either.
a comment down below.
Yeah.
B-Rad, is that not a nickname for you?
That's an unfortunate moniker that has been associated with me.
In my phone,
I don't mind it.
I have you as sadly.
Yeah, am I still sadly in your
Still
phone?
sadly, yes.
I think you're still Bard Ward in my girlfriend's phone.
Bardward, that's really good.
I used to
like that.
sing
I
a
like
lot
that
back
a lot.
in the day. We're discussing the Naughty Dog studio. This is part 2. If you want to hear about the everything before that and Crash Bandicoot, go back to the first episode. But we are now transitioning into their next trilogy, Jak and Daxter. Dominic.
Yeah, the good stuff.
Well, Dominic, what is your opinion on Jak and Daxter?
I love these games. I haven't played 3.
Weird.
1 and 2, I absolutely loved. The first one being a very open at the time world. Being able to go around collecting orbs and collectathon, right?
It is a collection.
I love that game. And then the second one really brought it into like you could drive like spaceships around and from 1 to 2, that was the first video game franchise that I was like, sign me up. I'm hooked. Let's keep it going. I love the humor of it, just the gameplay, everything about it. I loved.
You know, so they just got done with the Crash trilogy, and they wanted to do something a little different. He kind of has a similar moveset to Crash with his spinning and his jumping and like his little slide jumping in the first one for sure. What the first Jak and Daxter to me always felt like, and what they were going for was Banjo-Kazooie, Mario 64, more like an open world you explore. It is in the Guinness Book of World Records for many things, actually, the first Jak and Daxter, for being the first 3D like world platformer game with no loading screens. There's no loading screens in Jak and Daxter, which...
Wild.
It blew my mind back then because it was such a bigger world. And one of the things that Andy Gavin did with this game was create his own engine that was only for the Jak and Daxter games, which was supposed to be very infuriating for many people, but like perfectly catered to what they were going for. Yep, they were able to hide loading screens. And looking back on it now, you know, it's a collectathon.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And it is kind of a product. It's kind of a product that's late to the party, is my best way of putting that out there. I mean, it plays and controls really well. I've played it before minimally, but you know what? Like, I think Banjo-Kazooie might be the closest relative comparison. Yeah.
And yeah, this looks more polished, a little more finished, but ultimately, I think they were trying to create another, like, this is the PS2 mascot. Like, this is the PS2 guy. Yeah. And it wasn't. I remember
so silly.
For me, well,
Jack is an elf-eared, yellow goatee wearing dude.
I was gonna say, I was looking at the cover to Jak 2, and I said, "This is someone." Not just that; it looks like someone's Coheed and Cambria.
Yeah, it's Link with the shotgun.
It's someone's Coheed and Cambria fan fiction character.
As a late '90s kid that grew up into a 2000s kid, the game series kind of grew up with me. I went from wanting to explore a colorful, amazing open world to wanting to like go around and shoot somebody in the face with a shotgun because loot, rage, kill.
And with the Jak and Daxter trilogy, you can really see where gamers' sensibilities were moving and how they were maturing in a way, and Naughty Dog catered to that.
They hit the nail on the head.
To me, it didn't work.
Oh, no?
No, to me, I liked Jak and Daxter 1 enough. I never thought Jak was a cool character. At least, so in the first one, Jak is the I'm not going to talk.
Right,
No,
and that's...
and you know, it's painful sometimes.
Right.
It's painful to me when your guy is just like, always like, yeah, he doesn't do anything. And then there's Daxter is the talking character. He's walking a fine line between I'm funny and amusing, or am I grating and annoying?
I never found him annoying at all. I kept on keeping on. Every time, I loved the humor of that game, and
it mostly lands. It mostly lands, but I don't know. I think it's kind of walking a tight line.
Which one is more fuckable, his human form or his weasel form?
Well, I do love this. The trilogy explores this because there is a
girl weasel.
There's like a humanoid female character who ends up falling in love with Daxter, the weasel character, the Otzel. He's technically an Otzel, and
sure, Brad.
He's also a precursor, but
he is also a precursor.
There's some like odd stuff where she's like, "Oh, come here, I love you," and there's like, is she gonna fuck that weasel guy? And by the end of it, you're expecting like, what's gonna happen? And the end of this is the end of the trilogy.
Oh my God.
Does Daxter get turned back into a human? Nope, she gets turned into a weasel, and fuck.
Oh. Fuck.
But right when they're
down and
there's talk about personas, am I right?
Well, this is a running gag where Jack's about to get his kiss at the end of the first game, and Daxter shows up, and Jack's about to get his kiss at the end of the second game, and Daxter shows up, and Daxter's about to get his kiss at the end of the third game, and Jack's like, "Fuck you," and he's like separates them. He's like, "No one wants to watch two weasels have sex in front of us right now."
I love it.
Max Casella is Doogie Howser's friend Vinny on Doogie Howser.
So
That's kind of a deep cut.
Hella yeah.
Yeah, Tom was like 20 when that show came out.
He was too old to even relate to Doogie Howser.
Tom, I know you're listening because you wanted to talk about Last of Us so bad.
Now you don't get to.
Yep, we're making Doogie Howser jokes at your expense.
Because you can't hang, dog.
Ooh, did Dylan give you too many shots?
Did I do the thing? Did I buy you too much alcohol?
They sought to create an open world environment without loading screens, third person action adventure game. Sony purchased Naughty Dog, gave them a 4-game deal. New engine was created. We mentioned that. The story takes inspiration from Disney, Japanese anime, and Western cartoons. Wow. Gameplay, very obviously influenced by Donkey Kong, Mario 64, and Banjo-Kazooie. And Charles Zambilas, I'm probably not saying that game right, was brought back for character design. He helped design Jak and Daxter and all the supporting cast, apart from, also Crash Bandicoot and that whole thing. Jak and Daxter, the precursor legacy, had a 3-year development cycle. And I guess another thing to note, animating the duo, they were heavily inspired by the way Abu and Aladdin would move around early on in the game.
Makes sense.
Daxter, who looks fucking very weaselly at the beginning of the game, gets knocked into a vat of dark eco and becomes a weasel. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
go for it. Yeah. No,
well, there's not much story to talk about here.
I mean, this game, it wasn't like a massive thing. People really enjoyed this game, but for the most part, even growing up, I didn't hear people talk shit about this.
Its popularity came after, for sure.
Sure.
Well, yeah. I don't know. I was
more of a Ratchet and Clank guy.
In my head, Jak and Daxter was a greatest hits game. It sold very well, but to me, the first one was the one that mattered. Once they were, you can't like take Jak and Daxter and like now he's Grand Theft Auto, now he's Mad Max.
See, but as a kid, at the age that I was,
how old are you?
That was exactly what I needed. What year did this come out?
Well, how old are you?
I'm 32.
Okay, so we're the same age.
Then it turns into a Grand Theft Auto game.
Yeah.
Perfect timing for me.
Well, part of that, to me, it's you have this franchise and it's set in this world, and it's frustrating. Okay, Jak and Daxter 1, fucking collectathon. You're getting all the precursor orbs, you're getting all the power cells. At the very end, you are staring into a portal, you collected all the power cells, and it's a fucking cop-out. They're like, what happens next? Just you collected all these things, we're not going to tell you shit. It's like, oh, what's that? Cut to the end. That to me is the opposite of like teasing the next game. You have to like show like, oh, they're moving into like if it was like a teaser like Crash Bandicoot's world, I'm like, oh shit. Like that would be something to get me excited for the next game. This is just like, we don't know what we're doing, but there might be another one. Which is whatever.
Give me a cutscene.
Give me something.
Like give me something because I just spent 200 hours collecting feathers for you. Like whatever that collectathon is.
It's not even a sea shanty, which is worth collecting.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You get payback on that immediately.
Jak and Daxter 1 I played the shit out of though. I collected every single item in this first game. Jak 2 came out and
he's been in prison for 2 years.
He grew his hair out.
He's
got a little goatee now. He's got a little patch.
I have fond memories of the Jak and Daxter games, but like trying to talk about it now, it's hard for me not to try and just call him an edgelord.
It is edgelord.
Yeah.
The game is still good.
The first thing he says is, "I'm gonna kill this character,
Gorbo Blanchard."
Yeah, I hate him. He locked me up here. Oh, and then it's supposed to be like, oh my god, what happened to Jak?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's abandoning your design philosophy. Like,
can I read a blurb
It's
on the
show
back?
don't tell.
Please read the design.
Please do.
Yeah, please read the back of Jak 2.
Travel to a future with drama, conflict, and surprises. Friendship, betrayal, love, revenge. Think you're ready? Think again. You will finally know Jak.
Oh, that's good.
Ooh. As a 16-year-old boy, that's
so
right up
deep.
my alley.
You were just like, I wish I could kiss a girl, but this will help.
How did you know that's exactly what I sounded like back then?
That was me too.
That was the voice in GameStop.
And let me absolutely. Let me get this straight. The game is good. The gameplay is great.
It's a good game. Yeah.
It's just I don't like what they did with the Jak character, and I think they might have done too much. Whereas you have the original verb set of Jak 1, which is how most people are going to play a lot of it. You have the new gun mechanics, which are fun and diverse, but
Not completely fleshed out.
correct. Like I would agree. And then there's also dark eco transformation, which doesn't have a lot of uses. Plus, they do a few other things. And I think there's just so many options that none of the gameplay is refined enough for each scenario. Where if it's like this kind of a fight, you can do something different, and it will kind of destroy the flow of battle. Mm-hmm. There's too many options instead of keeping it like focused. There's an open hub world where you can go around Haven City, and that's cool. It feels like a fleshed out world you're living in. You can go outside of the city. There's a lot of time travel shenanigans.
My favorite trope.
Well, it's okay. So Jak 2, you're sent to the future, and then you were tortured for years. Daxter is a spin-off PSP game, which leads into this. And then you just want to kill people, and your whole goal is to like kill people, and then protect a kid who is yourself. Did you not know that kid was yourself?
No, it's just very...
When you hear it.
No, when you hear it, like...
Yeah.
We will get to Last of Us, but when you hear it, it's very... Yes, it's very same.
Yeah.
Yep. And, well, you get to this temple, and it's like, only the kid can go through there, and Jack's like, fuck you. And he actually said, like, fuck you, bitches. And he, like, does a kickflip into the... into the closing garage door. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And then he gets through the temple, and at that point, I'm like, oh, so he's the kid.
So he created his own origin story? Mind blown.
He's like, you can't go there. And he does a pop shove it on the guy.
Yeah.
Well, and they flips him, like, gives him the bird or something. I don't know.
Don't worry, kid. He even says in the game, it's one of my favorite lines. Don't worry, kid. Someday you'll have a goatee just like mine. And then he turns at the camera and then he winks.
And he's like, you ever listen to White Zombie?
It sounds like Mission Impossible 3.
Yeah.
Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall.
Humpty Dumpty.
And what's kind of... Just the tone feels kind of weird, because then you also have Daxter, who is just Daxter. He is still Daxter. Yeah. God bless him, because he's probably the best character in the whole franchise. Yeah. I think everyone would agree. But it's kind of weird. Like it's like your best homie like grew a mohawk and got his lip pierced, and you're still the same guy around him.
Like I said, someone listened to Coheed and Cambria for the first time, and they were like, now I've got it all figured out, baby. Yep.
Did you know that My Chemical Romance is also an author for the Umbrella Academy? Did you know that?
Yeah, of course I did.
No, well, when you say My Chemical Romance, is it that Gerard guy or is it the whole band?
Gerard Way, yeah.
I was like, is the whole is the drummer?
Here's one thing I'll say.
The drummer does the artwork, bro.
Here's one thing I'll say. Off tangent, that is one of the cases where the show is so much better than the comic book.
Because it's got My Chemical Romance.
The Umbrella Academy is not a great comic book. I like the art.
I know.
I didn't mind it.
Say about it.
Neither
I
is
didn't
my
mind
other
it,
favorite
but-
show, The Boys. The Boys is not a good comic.
It's Garth Ennis at his 90th.
I enjoyed it.
I like The Boys fine.
And this is going to be a new Patreon series about comic books
Okay,
and their
yeah.
adaptations.
We can talk about this later.
Jak has guns. Jak is edgy. No My Chemical Romance, but a lot of Coheed and Cambria.
He just kind of looks like Claudio Sanchez from...
I don't like.
He looks like Steampunk Link. I'm telling you, man.
I don't like his design. Like I grew my hair out. My goatee's more pointy.
Yeah.
Like
It's what Link
he
should
just
have.
got out of prison.
It's what Link should have looked like when he woke up out of a time capsule in Breath of the Wild.
I
Shotgun.
You never know what they have in the sacred... You don't know what kind of barbers they have in the sacred realm. Come on now.
That pod definitely does all of the grooming.
Mm-hmm.
I have even fewer notes about Jak 3.
Well,
I literally know.
I will tell you,
know like 5 people.
Wait, let's have
not played this one. I loved the first two, and I've not played this one.
I don't remember. How does Jak 2 end?
Jak 2 ends with you have saved yourself. You realize you're the kid. I think you are being the kid, and the younger version of the scientist character are being sent back in time to keep the timeline locked in. You've saved Haven City. I don't know the complete ending. Daxter's still Daxter. But Daxter looks
proud of you for remembering this.
Daxter looks super pissed on the cover though. Like he's like mean mugging at this point.
He's fucking over.
He's like,
it.
I've been trying to bang this human for a while, and I am still an Otzel.
Yeah. Definitely look that up when you get the chance. The original box art for the American version of Jak and Jak 3. It's actually kind of sick. I really do like this cover art.
Oh,
He looks a lot cooler in this one
He's
because
a very grumpy boy.
I think they're hiding most of his yellow hair.
They also gave him a haircut.
Yeah.
He has less of it in this one.
Anyways, let's get that back read.
Yeah.
I'm going to do the first mini paragraph and then the last paragraph because the middle just is whatever. Banished, left for dead, but the hero refused to be forgotten. Jak's exciting trilogy comes to a close, leading at last to revelations about the mythical warrior Mar. Secrets to Jak's enigmatic past, and ultimately to the shocking revelation of who the precursors really are.
Are they?
The middle stuff is just like blah.
Do you guys know who the precursors are?
Yep.
It's a weasel.
It's just one.
It's just
Spoilers.
Daxter, right?
It's 3 weasels. They're Otzels, but there's 3 of them that are like doing the Wizard of Oz shit.
Yep.
Yep.
They're behind a curtain.
The, nine kobolds in a cloak.
Yeah.
Thing.
Go.
It's 3 kids trying to open a bank account in Little Rascals. Yeah, Jak 3 took inspiration from Smuggler's Run.
Oh boy.
The only other note I have is he's no longer obsessed with revenge. He's just trying to do the right thing.
Wow.
That is a character arc right there.
Yeah, which I guess that's the second part of a trilogy, right? It's just kind of everyone's obsessed with like evil things before they grow up, and they're doing it for the right reasons.
Sure.
Yeah.
Mass Effect 2, we're gonna get a team of assassins, which is also the best one.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
You know everything sucks at the end.
Yep. Jak 3.
I got nothing.
I didn't. Play
This series to me fizzled out.
I guess there's some good skateboarding levels. I remember seeing that.
I got
that's
enough skateboarding in the second one though.
Yeah.
Like
Brad, you own this game and you haven't even like.
I don't even know where I got 2 and 3. I think my brother was selling these at a garage sale, and I just said, you can't sell them, just give them to me. And the sad thing is, the only one I bought was Jak and Daxter 1. And I don't know where that one is. So that's unfortunate.
Yeah, that sucks.
But I don't have the trilogy now on the PS4, so I got the whole bundle for cheap. Let's talk about Jak X Combat Racing here for a hot second.
I played that.
It's actually pretty good.
Not bad.
I didn't
Is it
have
really?
I never played it back in the day, but yeah. What are your thoughts on it,
I
Dylan?
played it at my cousin Trent's house, and I had a fun ass time. A little too edgy for me though. I much preferred Mario Kart, Double Dash, of course.
This was edgy.
Yeah, it was very edgy. A lot of missiles, a lot of machine guns. It was combat racing, and the competitive aspect, it was kind of fun. It's almost like it's a racing game, but Twisted Metal.
Yeah,
Okay.
The vehicles are very big. The tracks are very huge, and it's all about massive amounts of speed. And it's great because like when you don't have like you have a health bar kind of. So instead of running into a banana, it slows you down, like stops you. Getting a green shell stops you. This is like you'll get a machine gun. You have to like focus your hits enough, or you can take certain hits from certain weapons and survive. But when you do destroy someone, it has this nice cutscene where it shows their vehicle toppling over, which is kind of nice. I didn't play it in multiplayer, so I don't know how that would be affected.
It's fun.
Yeah,
I didn't understand how it worked. I played maybe 5 rounds, but
I feel like that just adds the strategic level of like, oh, I can take this one hit and keep on going.
Yeah.
Rather than just I need to avoid everything, which that's a Nintendo's rubber band effect is one thing that like I will honestly praise them for, because it allows newbies to come in and have just as much fun
Right.
as a veteran. But for somebody that's competitive, having another layer of strategy and like tactics put into, oh, I can take this hit and it won't slow me down.
Yeah.
Sounds great. I also haven't played this game.
It does have that one blue shell weapon, which does home in on people, but I think I saw it fewer and far between. I played this game for maybe a half an hour the other day.
Yeah.
It's got a huge story mode.
Is Jak X?
Wow.
Is combat racing on the pack you got?
Yeah, it came with.
That's cool.
Yeah, which is really cool because I hadn't played it before. But I don't know. I didn't care for how Jak went into edginess and combat racing. I'm like, whatever. But the game's really good.
I mean, it's kind of cool. Like, they make a trilogy of these kind of like platformers, and then they're just like, and now they race.
Yeah. Well, and I saw someone do a mock-up like Uncharted 3 comes out. They're like, well, we know what's next.
I did see that. That is very funny. Yeah.
Yeah. They'd have to, I don't know how they would do that with Uncharted, though.
Well, all of Uncharted's vehicles play like shit, and we'll talk about that.
We'll get there. There are over 12 vehicles in Jak X Combat Racing, and all of them you can customize your car,
That's
interchangeable
the coolest
car
part.
parts. So almost every vehicle can play a million different ways if you wanted to.
It's hard to beat those homing missiles, though.
Yeah, I mean, they're like the best weapon. They're like a red shell. Those are kind of what you always want to have in your back
Bread
pocket.
and butter.
31 different tracks, and it's just cool that they took a lot of time to put a story mode in there because not every racing game does. Where one of the main characters, like the big like guy who's way overweight and kind of gross, but everyone loves him. I forget his name in the Jak series, but he dies, and then at his wake, everyone does a toast to him, and then a video comes up with him saying, "I'm dead, but I poisoned you, bitches. Like, you got to race to win your antidote." I'm like, okay, that's fun enough. The coolest part of the story is there is a scene where they're obviously referencing Daxter is going to fuck his weasel girlfriend, and they're drinking coffee and talking about how hot the coffee is, which is a direct reference to Grand Theft Auto San Andreas' hot coffee mod.
Yep.
They're making a lot of like fun references. I'll cut in some of the dialogue here.
Yeah.
Yeah, which they were always cheeky. Like those games have like Naughty Dog has like that sense of humor, especially in Crash and Jak. We'll get to Uncharted. But
I was going to say, that's the only other one that has that, like, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
yeah, concept art for Jak 4 was leaked. Not recently, but this was something that they considered at some point. Hyper realistic designs. Would anyone have any interest in a new Jak game?
And I think most publishers, they would just be like, no.
I think right now, riding the nostalgia train,
Yeah.
with like Mario 3D All Stars coming out and literally everything being remade at this point. Final Fantasy, Resident Evil, everything's being remade. I think if you go back and say what are games that people like, let's remake a fourth one. I don't know, Crash Bandicoot maybe.
Well, yeah, but Jak and Daxter, like the Jak 4 concept art, it is like it's hyper realistic, and I do like that world where it's got into Mad Max and like some steampunk, and it looks cool. It'd have to be the franchise being reborn in a big way because I don't have tons of nostalgia for it. I remember loving the first Jak and Daxter, and I just don't know if it's got that same nostalgia for all gamers.
I think if you're going to get that creative and you're going to build that type of a world, your time is better spent building a new, fresh world than trying to cash in on some nostalgia and have to adhere to those rules then. Right. And also, they could just not adhere to those rules, but then you're going to piss off someone.
Yeah, well, I mean, someone's always going to get pissed off about everything, though, and I think, I don't know. Wind Waker came out and everyone was up in arms.
Yeah,
it's one of the best fucking Zelda games.
So good.
Sorry, man.
It is the best in some people's opinion.
I mean, I've played Link to the Past, so I don't
It's
know.
pretty great. I will say, I love it.
Of the 3D, I might agree with you, actually.
As long as it's a good game, I don't care. If you can
Also,
make
fun.
it still holds up.
if you can make a game though like Skyward Sword, which alienates left-handed schmucks like Tom. I don't even need to play the game to love it, because if it made Tom uncomfortable as a left-handed person, that's fine to me.
I will say this, Brad. I am also left-handed,
Oh, I'm sorry. This is awkward
and
now.
I had a great time playing it.
You're more ambidextrous than Tom.
I am, but Tom, I did have a good time
I
playing.
saw Tom
Skyward
try and
Sword.
drink left-handed one time. Was so hungover he couldn't make it to a podcast. Like,
I'm surprised you haven't noticed me
What I heard.
drinking my beer like this entire
you think
time.
you think I'm Goro Akechi-kun over here? I'm not a fucking detective. I'm Ryuji up in
Guys,
here.
check it out. Left hand.
I'm drinking left-handed too. Okay. Did you have anything else you wanted to mention about Jack X?
I'm always looking for the next Don't Drink and Drive game. So I might have to check this out. Which is why, that's why I mentioned Little Big Planet karting
Oh yeah.
earlier.
Dude, well, you know what's going to be the ultimate Don't Drink and Drive game? When they have the Mario Kart with the real vehicles, so you can actually have your drunk self be an obstacle you have to go around.
You can't go past me until I finish my beer.
Dude, that's great. Until you actually finish your beer, you can't go around yourself.
That's perfect.
Yeah, there's
Well, there you go.
I like it.
or if you don't finish your beer, like your buddy's racing and there's like beer obstacles or like shots, you have to do the shots before the vehicle can run him over.
Oh, this is
That
get
levels
fucked
up
up
the game
real
so
quick.
much, and also is so dangerous.
You know, that's how we get into the situation where I got Tom too drunk.
Jason
Long
Rubin
gone.
and Andy Gavin, they were there for part of Jack X. Jason Rubin in 2004 I think it was 2004, maybe 2005, gave a huge speech at the DICE conference about how publishers have no respect for development talent. And he just pretty much railed into how terrible development talent is treated. They're the true artists. He's like, there's no respect. This needs to end. I'm calling out every single like major publisher that you're treating your staff wrong. Which
to this day,
and like, dude, prescient. Like you're the head of Naughty Dog. And then so he gives this huge speech. And then 4 days later, he announces, I'm leaving Naughty Dog. And everyone's like,
I wonder why.
I wonder what's going on there. And he didn't have, like, he said he had plans, but there were no announcements or anything in place. And he sold Naughty Dog. He, like, left Naughty Dog, and Gavin left with him. And this was, like, 4 days after he gave this huge speech. I might cut in some of it here now, but I think it's very interesting that he felt so abused by Universal and then like so taken advantage of by Sony that he gave this huge speech and then he pieced the fuck out.
Love it.
Love it.
Yeah.
Ahead of his time.
yeah.
One of my favorite, and I'm sure a bunch of people favorites developers just put the crunch on Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
And like, I don't want to get into that. That's a completely separate issue. But the crunch is what destroys game developers, and those are the people making our games. They're they're the artists behind it. They're the driving force behind why we get the entertainment that we want to consume.
Right.
But I forget who was making the point where almost every major video game that comes out these days has
Has a
crunch.
We talked about it last night, me and him at least, me and Dylan with
Right.
Death Stranding,
Yeah.
and how Kojima literally left Konami because of that. And then
Put the
towards
crunch on his developers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, he did, but there's a humane way to do crunch, and then there is
And I
the
think
way.
he was
I think it's a matter of what you would call just like personal respect to each and every person underneath you. If we're talking about like the power structure as a pyramid, if you can't make it rain all the way down that pyramid, you're already fucking up.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah.
Period.
100%.
Because if you're gonna force people to, if you're gonna like force quote unquote people to do this, and you're gonna make it like half mandatory, at least give them incentive. It's exactly what you said. It's like if you work this hard, you will experience this much more reward.
And if
Yeah.
you're working overtime, like that many hours, there needs to be major like pay increases
Yeah.
during those hours.
Which even on a regular basis in the movie industry, that's what happens.
Yep.
But then they also offer like catering and take fives and
Yeah, you're literally
all that
like
shit.
living off of the budget of the movie
Right.
at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is like many
Different
many other studios we've discussed, where eventually the people that created the studio leave the studio, and it becomes kind of a beast of its own that carry on the legacy that, I mean, there's great games Naughty Dog put out, and then they have that under their belt as we are Naughty Dog. And
did you watch that? There's a video on YouTube. It's for their 30th.
Yeah.
And it is the biggest fucking fluff piece I've ever seen in my entire fucking life.
Yeah.
It's so disingenuous.
Was that right around the time that
This would have been 2014.
And this might have been like when Ruben and Gavin left, one of like the first instances, at least with Naughty Dog, where you are forced to sign an NDA. Like you can't talk bad about what's going on here. And that's something that Naughty Dog, I don't want to say it's the fall, but dude, they fucking get super sketchy with a lot of stuff after these guys leave. And
it's actually part of the reason even if I did have the system to play it on, I don't think I would buy Last of Us Part 2.
I don't want to support it.
I don't want to. I literally have, like, it's just like, there's just, like, every time I would play it, I would literally just think about the people, like, suffering to make this. And it's just like, it's the same way I feel sometimes when I look at my shoes and I know it was done by fucking, like, slave labor in China. It's like, God, like, it's the nature of the beast to some degree. I get it, but there's another part of me that's just like, how far and how long, and is my entertainment actually worth any of this?
Yeah.
I get that. It's an odd thing to see something that you absolutely adore, and we'll get into The Last of Us later, but I adore the storyline, the acting, the delivery of that story is incredible. And then to know that you have to turn around and know that real people suffered and like put their own lives out over that. It adds weight to the storyline, not that it needed any more.
And well, it takes you out of the story, and it is distracting when you're watching Joel kill 50 people and Naughty Dog's killing 100 people, you know?
Yeah.
Well, and it's, to a certain degree, I think they know that most people don't actually pay attention to video games in the way that, like, even what this podcast tries to achieve.
Yeah.
They know that most people aren't paying attention or looking at this. It's not like when a movie goes into weird production hell, everyone knows about it because it's in all the rags and stuff like that. This is so much more of a cloistered off.
There's like the number of people that are going to go into Spider-Man 3 and be surprised that Jamie Foxx is in it. Like, I've been thinking about that since I read the news. And then there's also a tease that like Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are showing up at the end. This is affecting my life right now.
As long as we get more Alex Jones style J. Jonah Jameson, I am absolutely okay.
Yeah,
I think
but
that's
it's like
exactly what they were introducing when he showed up at the end of the last one. It's just like, oh no, this is a multiverse thing.
Yeah.
But getting to the point, what you were saying is like, we are tapped in and we know that people are suffering. Other people are like, ooh, there's a new Last of Us game.
Yep. Game pretty, me like, me buy.
Let's just mention briefly, Jason Rubin and Andy Gavin are homeboys who started up Naughty Dog. Rubin and Gavin would create Flector, which was a web app for mashing up content from all social websites into like videos. They sold for more than $20 million in 2007.
Good for you.
Mm-hmm. They also created Monkey Gods, which made a couple of mobile games, which also did well. Andy Gavin is now a published author of The Darkening Dream and Untimed, as well as having 4 max-level World of Warcraft characters.
Whoa.
Good for him.
Accomplished.
Dude knows how to play.
Wait, what year? Was this level 60?
I don't know. I was on his website looking at his list of accomplishments, and that's one of them. I'm like, fuck yeah, dude.
Respect. Especially if it's vanilla, respect.
If I wrote a book, it would be like, and he beat all the Soulsborne games except for Sekiro.
List of accomplishments on the back flap.
Yeah, exactly.
It'd be a picture of you smiling.
Like kind of like a 90s like kid portrait. Like,
after taking part in the failed podcast Raw Dogs, Dylan went on to have 4.
went on to a good success.
He finally went on to beat Sekiro.
It was hard.
Jason Rubin created comic book series The Iron Saint and Mysterious Ways. He became president of THQ, and he found out after he became president it was way worse than he was told it was. Yep. Here's the ship, Captain. There's 10 holes in there. Good luck.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. He became president right after they had laid off hundreds of employees. Stock had lost over 99% of its value. He did the best he could to gracefully get out of there. He currently works for Oculus as the VP of content.
Wow.
And by all accounts, these guys are still great. They've always been great. And I always enjoy hearing their opinions on everything they mention. The company was left to Evan Wells and Stephen White. Evan Wells is still the president. He's been there since almost the beginning. Stephen White was replaced by Christoph Baelstra a year later. He noped out of there pretty quick.
Is anybody else just as excited as I am for Baldur's Gate 3 dropping tomorrow? Because, seriously, it's coming.
Wait, is this early access?
This is where I would cut to a video of Tom sleeping drunk. Yeah, and Tom's like, I would be excited.
Could be excited, but
So I am not a huge fan of early access in general.
have you played a Larian game in early access? Because they don't release, they're just releasing the first act, and I guarantee you that it's
I don't like that.
mostly completed thing.
I understand. I mean, I get it.
I think it's going to be great.
It's gonna be awesome.
I'm not a Baldur's Gate guy, but yeah.
As long as it takes place in the city of Baldur's Gate.
It doesn't.
So
Why is it called Baldur's Gate?
This is
Because you're on your way to Baldur's Gate.
Oh, that's cool.
Naughty Dog. Naughty Dog has now moved on to what they are calling the next production, which is Project Big. They have become a home for the ICE team, and they wanted to create a new IP that was more suited to the PS3 hardware. They wanted something photorealistic. They wanted some more hardcore shooting mechanics, and that's why now Jak and Daxter is in Grand Theft Auto for real. No, they just made Uncharted. They made Uncharted.
Whoa.
Uncharted, Drake's Fortune comes out November 19th, 2007. Director Amy Koenig would be the head writer and creative director for most of the series. Now, Tom has extremely strong feelings about how great he thinks Amy Koenig is. Uncharted 1. Dylan, you go for it. What are your thoughts?
What are my thoughts? At the time, seeing it being played, I creamed my jeans. I thought this was the coolest looking thing I'd ever fucking seen. Of course, I had friends at the time with actual HD televisions, so that was a step above what I had. I still had the tube television. Makes me feel old. But watching this thing...
Just look at a picture of Tom when you feel old. That's what I do. Jesus.
Feel young or old?
I feel young when I look at a picture of Tom.
Yeah.
Well, and watching this thing being played, it's enamoring.
Yep.
Playing it now, though, I think these games are so much a product of their time that I'm just going to say it. The first Uncharted is pretty hard to play now.
It is. I think 2 really holds up. Uncharted 1 feels really loosey-goosey and kind of flimsy. The gunplay is satisfactory, which is not a glowing recommendation. I guess they had a huge problem creating a vertical slice of this game where they could actually kind of get the vibe for how a level would feel. It wasn't until the second year of production when people were already starting to resign almost every day. They lost 30 people over the course of a month. And then they got this one slice to work. That's kind of when some new energy and enthusiasm was found. This is a very different step for Naughty Dog, going out of cartoony fun.
This is the
mascot.
modern Naughty Dog. This is all they're known for.
And I mean, this is again them following the sensibilities of gamers too, because PS3, you're starting to think about this generation is Gears of Wars. And Uncharted, to me, is the poster child for the PlayStation 3. That trilogy is a PS3 defining. That's when I think of PS3. I think of Nathan Drake hanging off of some shit.
If not only that, just modern video games first, single player video games. That's what everyone thinks of.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that in college I was playing this game and I was throwing a party, and before I had everybody come over, I was sitting there playing this game, and the next thing I know, 3 hours later, I turn around and everybody's behind me and they're going, "What movie is this?" And I'm like, "This is a video game."
I don't know. That sounds like your friends are dumb, but
Yeah, that's why I don't hang out with them anymore.
I mean, like, there were commercials that were exactly like this. In Uncharted 3, they had a commercial with Harrison Ford, it was literally like they gave the old man a controller, and Harrison Ford's like, I don't understand how they make this.
But they were striving for a summer blockbuster. They wanted it to look cinematic, and the cutscenes they are cinematic. The first one isn't photorealistic by any means, but it could be an animated movie.
It's close. This is clear that they pioneered a lot of mocap technology.
Well, and they just discovered, like, if you want to animate what essentially is just like realistic looking humans, you can't keyframe all of it. Motion capture is what you're going to go for.
Yep.
And then this like saint just walks through the door. He's like all covered in light, and he's like, "My name's Nolan North. I'm here. I'm here to like find treasure and fuck shit up, and I'm all out of treasure."
And continue doing it for the next 15 years.
Low key, Nolan North is our Harrison Ford.
There's a YouTube channel where he plays games with Troy Baker, and I'm going to be honest, it's fucking good.
I would like to watch this. I need that later.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah, and he's done a lot to also like unify video game voice actors and try and like bring awareness to them. And not only is he like an amazing voice actor, he's the motion capture too, which is really cool. I guess his wife was watching him play the game, and she's mentioned like he did that same little weird face thing you do, like just the minute little things, and so every single thing about the way Nathan Drake is moving on screen, that's Nolan North.
Yeah.
And the reason that Emily Rose was cast as Elena Fisher in the game was
She's wonderful.
Or is it the other way around? It's one of those.
Elena Fisher is the character.
Yeah. So the reason Emily Rose was cast was because she had a natural chemistry with Nolan North, which it shows when you play the game.
It shows when you do any performance together. When you have somebody that you feed off of, it elevates the performance so much more, because it goes from being something that you have to think about to something that you're just constantly responding to.
I mean, I'm more of a Chloe guy, but
I just like that Nathan Drake's health meter is just like his luck running out. I think that's great. I think that's a beautiful mechanic that is always there in video games, but the way of turning it into that summer blockbuster that you were talking about, it turns into that wonderful thing of, oh no, that's just like the actor messing up. It's not the actual way the scene is supposed to go. You as the player are playing out the role, and then your luck runs out because you took too many hits. I think that's awesome, because that's how Indiana Jones works. I mean, he can get chased by an entire village of indigenous people with blow darts and not take a single hit, even though, objectively that's not going to happen.
An escape is a little bit different than deliberately popping off 20,000 brown people.
Which hooking the edge of a castle as you swing around, mowing down 5 people is completely different. Sure, absolutely.
And now for Dylan's ludonarrative dissonance explanation in Uncharted.
Ludonarrative is when the actions of a character in whatever they're doing do not match the actual like character motivations. So the fact that Nathan Drake comes off as like this very like charming, like witty gentleman thief is what I might even call him.
Sure, that sounds good.
Arsene.
When it doesn't match up to the fact that you're supposed to find this character likable, but he's killing hordes and hordes of other human beings, people with families. I do think for the most part, what video games still has troubles achieving, which is why I always praise the ones that can kind of get past this, is actually giving you license with the violence that you're committing and actually having that tied to the story.
Give it weight.
Because if this is just a shooting gallery, it might as well just be little like clowns made of like plyboard.
The only
Duck Hunt.
The only acceptable humans to kill in video games are Nazis. Like to break it down into like the worst kind of simplistic
if you had
things.
to mow them down, that's why Wolfenstein.
And zombies. It's
Zombies
okay to
are
kill
fine.
zombies, but otherwise,
Demons.
you have to really like give an excuse to try and execute another human being. Nathan Drake has killed a lot of people.
The problem ends up being is that when you, especially if like let's say we're playing like Far Cry 3, that's a very popular game in which the same thing kind of occurs, even though you are forced to be like there's no real Ludo narrative there. Like you turn into this like crazed hunter warrior. Even then, like there are no women or children on this island really, besides the ones that you have to save. So it's easier. It's like you can't kill a dog
It's
in most games
unrealistic.
either. It's just like if there's anything that elicits sympathy, it's women, children, and innocent animals.
And that was Dylan's Ludo narrative moment.
That's all I have to say.
Uncharted 1 ultimately didn't receive the acclaim they were hoping it would. It
was
definitely
big, though.
it definitely was big and it proved a lot of concepts. Uncharted 2 Among Thieves comes out October 13th, 2009, and this one sent reverberations through the industry, received so many Game of the Year awards.
Now, this is Shambhala, right?
Yeah.
Yes, and fifth best-selling PS3 game of all time. And everything I read about the making of is just people like the train fucking sequence, the train
fucking
sequence.
train
The very first sequence.
Yep, they said they
Or
spent
the,
so
like,
much
11th
time.
sequence because
Nobody
you know,
talks about the awful boss battle at the end.
Yeah,
No,
I hate that boss
I do.
battle. Pissed me off.
I
That boss battle
absolutely
sucks.
do.
You get a shotgun and you have to like lob your grenades exactly correct, or you run out of ammo.
the speeding train sequence.
Yeah, beat it first try.
Well, dude, I didn't understand it. I fought that guy for like an hour, and I'm like, I don't get it. I'm fucking pissed. Yeah, and I don't know what I was doing wrong. Eventually, I got through it, but Uncharted 2 was like refined mechanics, and it definitely honed in on what made the gameplay good.
Except for the stealth.
Yeah, stealth was never great,
The stealth
but
is really bad.
the stealth has never been good.
I think that's probably what they're going for, though.
I know.
Because
That's what they wanted.
I think that at that point, that's when they leaned heavily into multiplayer.
I don't think this was on purpose, and I really have to say, none of what they have ever been building has ever leaned in the stealth direction. Even in the first Uncharted, there's no.
Uncharted 4 was going to.
You
I
can't.
think they want you to play the game rather than
No, they
sneak
want it to
around
be a summer
There's a lot of
blockbuster.
stealth. There are so many mandatory stealth sections, though. It's even in the beginning where you first get betrayed and you're in the museum.
Yep.
I mean, I'm sorry, if you're gonna make it mandatory, it's got to be good.
Even Uncharted 1, which I thought the gameplay, there's a lot of moments I'm like, oh, this is fucking bad.
I like the zombie mummies.
That was cool, but every time Nathan Drake says something or does something, I'm like, that motherfucker.
no.
Yeah, like, every time, like, that guy's, I fucking love you.
But by the way, it's Nolan North. You,
It
you
is-
said his
it-
name
and-
wrong.
And dude,
Nully Bully? Is that his name?
dude, so cool.
Nathan Nolan.
So yeah, Troy Baker. Yeah, they worked in much more. Well, there's complaints about the first one that there was no replay value and that the game was too short. So they addressed these
It's
issues.
actually not, though.
There were complaints.
8 hours. That's pretty good.
They worked in an online multiplayer component, which you had mentioned.
I've played it.
Was it good?
No.
It was okay.
Mine's more of a hot
okay.
take. Yeah.
That's generous.
Does anyone have anything else about Uncharted 2 that they want to say?
This is the second best one.
Yeah,
Second best.
I'll endorse
Second
that.
best.
Uncharted combat racing was the best.
Clearly,
I just love
Obvious.
racing
Combat
games.
X.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
me.
I'm all about kart racers.
Yeah.
Next up-
Midnight Club Uncharted Street Racing was the best one.
Fuck off. I do like Midnight Club.
Midnight Club was dope.
Because with Jack,
got
they
the
went
hover
Smuggler's
car.
Run. So with Uncharted, they went with Midnight Club.
Oh, very good.
The next game is the best Uncharted game. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Uncharted 3.
Drake's
Deception. It has the best story. It has the coolest set pieces, bar none.
I would argue that it's also the culmination of the actual story.
Yes.
What? But they want to make another one for more money.
Yeah, it's great to want to make more money.
I know it's really satisfying that you ended his trilogy. Oh, can you? Oh, we want another one.
By the way, just imagine all of the cable service providers from South Park.
It's like, oh, Amy Hennig, we know we trust you as a creator, but 10 people played it and didn't like it. We're going to bring in someone else.
We're sorry.
My nipples are actually getting aroused from how much I'm rubbing them. I got to stop.
Oh, did you not like the clever combat, the unique storytelling, and the fact that in the first two Uncharted, they actually find some sort of supernatural element, and in this one, literally everyone was just high on hallucinogens? That is the best.
We're sorry.
We're sorry.
This is the first time Naughty Dog has ever split into two different teams. And you know what's kind of something interesting about Naughty Dog is there's never like...
name?
It's their name. No. There's never like a strict schedule or like someone like dictating how things go. It's kind of always just real fluid. Like, you guys are getting things done. Cool. This is great. They've never really had like taskmasters.
Yeah, we like to chill here. It's fun.
Until we don't, and you're fucking crunching it, bitch. So they split into two teams. So they have one team kind of working on Last of Us, getting that going, and Uncharted 3 is the other team. They wanted to implement a sand-based world. Amy Hennig thought that would be a cool look for Drake, wearing a scarf and going through a Sahara. It is
Running away from big trucks.
It sounds good in my head. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm there. They wanted to evoke a more open world feeling there, but like, it's not a fucking open world though. We're not doing that. We just wanted to feel bigger. Uncharted 3, I never beat this game. I did dabble a little bit.
Oh.
Do either of you have strong feelings?
It's an excellent game. I
enjoyed
think
the fuck
that
out of
it's...
it, yeah.
I would actually probably place it at my number 2 slot of the series.
Yeah.
The set pieces are fantastic. The storyline is cohesive to the rest of it. I don't think that 4 jumped the shark so much as it kind of abandoned all of the story threads.
It just got out.
Over.
It didn't jump the shark. It just got out of the water.
Yeah. So yeah, for me, I love the game, and I've never played the Uncharted series for the raw gameplay experience.
Yeah.
I'm always there for the beautiful set pieces, the engaging storytelling, the interesting dynamic, and of course the excellent
Climbing up like a falling train
Yeah.
and realizing parts can break off.
well, and
Right.
and listening to
Nolan North.
It's the best
Yeah.
of just him being a snarky asshole. Like, oh no.
Yeah.
That's so stereotypical Han Solo.
Uncharted 3, I believe this was the trailer that had...
when you leave us.
Uncharted 3 had the trailer where the building was falling and everything was like sliding out of the building. And at the very end of the trailer where you survive, Nathan's like, we were almost in that building or something like that.
Yeah,
everyone like freaks out.
we were almost in there.
That was the difficult vertical slice. Was it you who was saying that this concluded the trilogy? Who said that? Like, this is clearly the end of like... like this is the end of... This should have been the Nathan Drake trilogy, right?
Yes,
And
100%.
and
It was The Last Crusade,
and
which is also coincidentally the best.
So, are you saying Uncharted 4 is the Crystal Skull?
Yeah.
Well, if they were to follow the correct trilogy ordering that they've done so far as Naughty Dog, this is when there's a racing game, and then you never talk about fucking another
I think at this point he was added into Battle
Royale. Battle Stars. All
Yeah, the
Stars.
first Battle
PlayStation
Royale.
All Stars.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, PlayStation All Stars, which I didn't hate.
It wasn't the
Hey,
worst.
can I ask you guys a question? When's
Sure.
Drake gonna be in Fortnite?
Okay.
It's
We're-
coming.
Fuck.
Whatever, it's fine. Let's
Don't give
get
them ideas, Dylan. Don't give them
When they
ideas.
come out with the fifth one.
Yeah. Okay. Last of Us. Cue Last of Us music and fun stuff.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
guitars.
Troy
I thought you were gonna play
Baker.
your accordion.
Show
have it with
him
me.
some giraffes.
Oh no, this is guitar. You don't. I could literally try to do Last of Us on the accordion, it just would not work.
The development for The Last of Us began after Uncharted 2. This came out June 14th, 2013. And
Day one, baby.
This is the brainchild of Neil Druckmann. He had the idea to merge the gameplay of Ico in a story setting during a zombie apocalypse with the lead
Sorry, I
character.
have to correct you. It's Eco.
Eco. Dark Eco. Light Eco?
No.
No, Eco.
What created Daxter?
Is this ICO? Eco?
ICP. The Insane Clown Posse.
Oh my God!
I'm so
almost just
sorry.
punched
Neil
you.
I'm so sorry.
Whoop, whoop.
No, Neil Druckmann had the idea to merge the gameplay of the Insane Clown Posse in a story setting during a zombie apocalypse with a lead character. He said, like John Hardigan from Sin City, which is the Bruce Willis character, if you're not as familiar with Sin City.
Okay.
That's kind of
I've
what
read it
his
and
idea.
know.
He pitched this in like to John. Who's the guy who created the Dawn of the Dead?
George Romero.
George Romero. George Romero had like a pitch a video game idea thing, and this is what he pitched to him. He didn't win, but he also references No Country for Old Men as a big inspiration. And essentially, the point of it was, could you take two characters and build a gameplay and a relationship around two characters growing and learning about each other? And that's kind of what it was based on, that and the inspirations that I just mentioned.
Right.
With Neil Druckmann at the head. I haven't beat Last of Us 1. I tried to play it on that very
You
unfortunate...
haven't beat it?
What?
No, well, okay, can I give you just one bit of context?
for it.
So I was trying to play it on the PS Now, that like streaming service, and I was trying to play it at my brother's place, and it was... they don't let you download the game. So the streaming was like 10 frames or 7 frames off or something. Like the buttons were not responsive. So I played through like a couple of missions, but it was unplayable in
You
that.
could literally buy it for $5.
Dude,
No, I
I'll
could-
let
I
you
could-
have it.
I have it.
I'll buy it for you.
No, I have a copy of it in my house.
I think I still have mine too.
It's worth playing.
I only
gonna
have the
have a
PS.
PS4.
I only have the PS4.
It's the remastered version.
I might already have it. I don't know, but
You probably do because you have PlayStation Plus.
And the
I know
truth
you
comes
do.
out.
but I'm just saying I haven't beat it yet. I know a lot of people have a lot of strong feelings.
He'll get to it in 5 years. When
Well,
he's
when
now
Dylan
playing-
forces me to.
Well, you're playing every single game I've ever loved.
Dylan's always right.
I am a man of wealth and taste.
And I was-
not unlike the devil in
I
the
was-
Rolling Stones song.
I was on my Switch Online earlier, and I'm like, Hades. Dylan loves this game. I'm
It's
sure
the
it's
game of the year. It's literally just
It's game of the year. But have you also played Bastion and or Transistor?
It's better than both of those.
It is
combined.
better than both.
I played
But if
Bastion.
you like both of those, you're
Yeah.
gonna fucking love Hades.
It's so much better. It's so much richer.
So Joel and Ellie. So you have
so good.
So Troy Baker has a guitar, right? And that's the point of this game.
yes.
Troy Baker owns a guitar. The video game.
No,
Wait, are we talking about one or two?
okay,
right
we're
now?
talking about one.
Okay,
all
not
of
yet.
the ones
Not
you
yet.
So Dominic,
Yes.
explain to me what The Last of Us is.
Last of Us is a post-apocalyptic zombie video game where you play as a ex-radical trying to find the cure for this virus, or it's really a fungal infection if you dive deep enough. Sorry.
Cordyceps.
I love a fungal.
Yeah.
Me too, baby.
And
They've
I
given
like
me
to
a few
dance.
infections.
I like to dance.
as an ex-smuggler Han Solo type, you are...
It's always like, how can we work Han Solo into this guy?
right. You are a smuggler who is...
No one's like, how do we
tasked-
get C-3PO in this game? Like,
Dude, I want to make a
Oh,
separate
Ellie
video
is
game.
not a C-3PO type.
no.
Thank God.
an R2D2.
Thank God. But
Midget
yeah,
man.
no, he's a Han Solo smuggler type that is tasked with smuggling a small child who is immune to the disease across the country.
Yep.
To deliver her to the radicals, the resistance as it is, to develop a cure, and things ensue across the way.
very morally ambiguous. And
Well, at first it's not
Joel-
super morally ambiguous. It's more or less about their relationship and him being a reluctant father figure.
We can spoil Last of Us 1, but not Last of Us 2.
Okay.
Let's do that. But
Okay.
Joel, he's a great character because he is loyal to his people and he will protect his people. And if you are fucking with his, like, once Ellie's one of his, he's like, I will violently murder the shit out of you if you're
An
trying
example of the Ludo narrative not being involved.
Honestly-
his character motivations make sense. He's a killer.
Yep.
He knows it. He doesn't care.
I
So killing makes
relate-
sense.
With Joel so dangerously close, it's insane. Of just like,
When did you lose your daughter?
you fucked with my person?
Yeah.
Oh,
I will end you.
Yeah.
And everything you care about. That's like there's no in between. It's just like there are the people that are mine and then everyone else.
Yeah, and the gameplay, at least it's not the forefront of what makes The Last of Us great. It's a game that is about its relationships and its story as much as the gameplay. Whereas I don't think you could make that same argument with, like, Uncharted. The set pieces are great, the story is great, but it's also the gameplay. When I was playing The Last of Us, the gameplay wasn't the highlight of the
It
game.
was definitely second note.
It was second.
I really disagree, actually.
Yeah.
Really?
The story is, if it weren't just for the subtleties, it wouldn't have been effective. If the actors weren't any good, this script is kind of not the greatest. I would argue that this is where they actually achieved a game where there's a level of customization, there's a level of momentum to what your characters do. The stealth works. I don't know. The crafting system rules. It gives you it rewards exploration, which Uncharted really does not.
No.
Unless you want to find more ammo.
Yeah.
Whereas this one is just like, I'm finding supplies. Oh, I found this really weird one that can totally upgrade my gun. Like, this actually gives you progression.
The Last of Us, I think, really works great too in that you never feel like you're loaded or like my armor's built up. You're always like you're
looking for something.
You're going from resource to resource, which it's got that survival horror element to it,
Yep.
where you never should have a fully loaded clip and just like I'm ready for everything. It's like this is not.
When you do,
Yeah.
You're
You still
losing
have to be
3
clever.
go
bullets.
through it very quickly.
Yes, and you need ladders and giraffes too.
The acting behind the narrative does sell it. There's no questions asked that the voice actors pull their weight more than anything that they have to with this game, because it's already structurally a good game, but then you throw an immersive storyline behind it. I was in full-blown
Now, hold
tears.
on. We're sensitive men here.
When I played this game with my girlfriend, she looked at me and said, "Are you crying right now?" And I said,
And you went,
"I'm
no, it's really misty in here. I don't know.
And at that point, it was the 4th time I've played it.
But we have to mention a few other games before we get through this. Does anyone else have anything they want to mention on The Last of Us before we move on?
Nah.
Play it?
No, great. Yeah, play it.
This is honestly, no one has anything bad to say about The Last of Us.
Yeah,
But
no, it's
Brad,
great.
I will let you borrow it for sure.
The Last of Us Left Behind comes out less than a year later, a downloadable expansion pack.
The multiplayer is really good in The Last of Us.
And
Really?
the first one? Like,
Yes.
yeah, okay. Left Behind, this is an expansion pack primarily dealing with Ellie.
Yep.
And about how what she's doing in the main story beforehand and between some other sections.
with her
this
friend
is
Riley.
the Rogue Squadron one line that she makes
Yep.
becomes a video game sort of thing.
No, hold on. If you bought the video game first day and you got the collector's edition, which I did, it came with a comic book called Left Behind.
The worst
The
Christian
start-
novels of all time. Don't read the Left Behind books; they are overrated.
But it's literally this story, because when I started playing it, I'm like, oh fuck, this is the comic book that came with the main game. Like, they obviously knew this was going to be, like, they had to plan this alongside the other thing.
Right.
We have
You should have.
we have a lot we got to get to.
Yeah,
so.
I know.
But-
Let's keep going.
This game is literally the one line at the end of Last of Us 1,
Yep.
where she says, me and my friend both got bit, and we both decided to get crazy
Because they thought they were
together.
going to die. Yep.
And-
And then you find out that, she's in a relationship with this girl, and
has her first kiss,
it's
Which-
quite a beautiful story for how short it is.
and you fuck up a mall.
Yeah.
The characters kissing, you mentioned Ellie kisses Riley. This was declared as a breakthrough by gaming publications and people everywhere.
Glad, yeah.
Yep, I mean this is
true.
two female characters, which they're thought out. They feel real,
and they're young too, which is like a lot of people think you grow into this.
I don't know, man. Have you ever played Fear
whatever.
Effect? They do it in that one too.
Well, and a lot of people no one had any issues with this back in the day, and some people believe they start pandering later on in some of these games. Whatever. Well, Uncharted 4: A Thief's End has been getting worked on concurrently with this. A dramatic reboot was caused halfway through this game.
You can tell.
Yes, and partially because some people think that Bruce Straley and Neil Druckmann forced Amy Hennig out. Some playtesters weren't enjoying where the story was going for Uncharted 4, and right after Last of Us was done, these Neil Druckmann and Bruce Straley thought they would have a break, and instead, some people say that they forced Amy Hennig out. There's some fuzziness there, but she left. Those two are now in charge of the project. Dramatically, they said they would only take it if they could rewrite it and restructure it from the ground up. So years of work, a lot of it's thrown out, and they have a new director. And at this point, Christoph Bailstra retires after 15 years with the company. He's like, I'm fucking out. This is messed up. Right after Uncharted 4 is released, which comes out on May 10th, 2016, 70% of the designers leave. They're like, I can't be a part of this anymore.
Yeah.
And after completion, 14 of 20 non-lead designers leave the company as well. So, Uncharted 4, Dylan, what do you think?
Do you remember the first teaser from E3? It was dark as fuck, and it was literally a man being like, and then I'm going to kill Nathan Drake and his brother, or something like that. And I was just like, whoa. And I was actually kind of intrigued by a plot for this in a long time, because I'm like, oh, this feels credible. There's something from his history that he has to face, and it feels kind of tangible and real.
Is he going to die?
He could act. It's called A Thief's End, and a part of me is just they might actually fucking go there.
Or is he just retiring? And is he just playing Crash Bandicoot on the couch? Is he
yeah,
which that's a cute scene. That's
I love
super
that.
cute.
I was gonna say, let's be honest, we all wanted that end.
Yeah, dude, you got through it all. You're playing Crash Bandicoot. You did it. You got Elena.
but then I had to play through a 20-hour game that did not deserve the runtime, and still kind of felt like an outdated video game. It
played
felt outdated.
Well, originally, Amy Hennig wanted to address the ludonarrative dissonance. She wanted a large chunk of the game. Nathan Drake didn't have a gun.
Yeah.
Which she wanted to focus on fist fighting and sneaking around a lot more. Cool.
That
Changing the
would've been-
gameplay.
That's sick.
And maybe he's realized at this point, I've killed 1,000 people and I'm really lucky I survived. Let's try and be as
I'm
sneaky
doing
and
that,
cool with it
dude.
as I can.
If you're going to get meta narrative, you might as well go full hog. And maybe that's just, they're just like, come on, let's stay in our lane.
And maybe that's why some of the people that looked at it, and they're like, Nathan Drake shoots people.
I'd rather though.
But how cool
I'd rather have her Vision, who has been the leader of the series.
Yeah.
I'll play something bad that's creative before I'll play something
How
good
cool
that's
would it
not.
have been to see him go through regular stealth sections and stuff like that, avoiding the army that he knows he can murder his way through?
From what I've read, they actually wanted to use the stealth system from The Last of Us, which works.
Yeah.
And it works very well. And especially when it comes to like vision cones and stuff like that. I just this one, this game is such a fucking hodgepodge. There's driving sections that never get reused. You remember going around Madagascar?
They don't really work.
Well, they work fine, and I was like, holy shit! There's this open world, and it's half open world.
Mostly, I would like to see the original creative director's vision seen through if
Right, me
she
too.
wanted to do something, but It became an unwieldy beast of a game that was too long, too much scatterbrained things happening. Believe us here at Raw Dogs, we are going to do an Uncharted deep dive proper at some point because we don't have enough time to talk about all of it. But Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, this comes out in August 22nd, 2017. I don't know much other than it was like the Chloe character and another female
Nadine
character.
from 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The black girl who shows up at the
Boss.
Who's an antagonist
Boss.
in
yeah,
4.
the Bond party that the auction or whatever in the 4th one.
Someone you actually don't give a fuck about and whatever.
But then you
it's
do
fine.
when you play this.
I've only watched it be played, so I don't really have the.
I'm okay with staring at Chloe's ass for long periods of time.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. October 2017, David Ballard, a former environmental artist, claims he suffered a mental breakdown after sexual harassment by a senior team member in late 2015. He informed PlayStation's HR department and was terminated the following day and offered hush money to never talk about it.
Please.
Welcome to the dark side.
Yep,
Yeah.
and nothing ever came from that. They just kind of said, forget about
I
it.
assume it's a pretty big amount too.
Well, he didn't take the hush money. He's like, no, I'm not going to not talk about this. That's the
I
only
would,
reason
and then
no.
I'd break NDA because who gives a shit?
Eh.
Listen, I'm like Nathan. They base Nathan Drake off of me. You got to be a good criminal.
Just make sure to
connection
put
is
your money
real.
somewhere that has no relation to you.
All right, we don't have a ton of time, and we have to talk about The Last of Us Part 2, which I think is a whole episode if Tom was here. Luckily, he's asleep for 7 hours now. Last of Us Part 2 comes out June
After his early
19th
bird.
this year, 2020. Features an overly violent trailer. There's also a lesbian kiss trailer. Spoilers and story leaks galore. Massive amounts of crush. Jonathan Cooper, a former animator, confirmed in a tweet that the crunch and atmosphere around Naughty Dog, saying they threatened to withhold his last paycheck unless he signed documents saying he would not speak negatively about the company.
Unreal.
And then he's just like, that's so illegal. They're like, here's your money. Just leave. Yeah. So I guess the biggest story is, apart from the crunch, there was a YouTube upload of major chunks of the story, spoiling everything, as well as level titles and synopses.
And also just like a huge thing.
How far did you did you guys dive into this
I
at all?
already know all of it. It's
Well,
fine.
yeah, but like when it came out, did you just go head first into it, or
I
were
did
you-
because first of all I didn't have a PS4. It wasn't going to be an issue for me, but I also knew that at some point this is like a semi-profession for me. Like I knew I was going to learn all of this no matter what I did. So I just jumped in. I don't care about spoilers in movies. I don't care about spoilers in games. The thing is the thing. If it's good, it's good.
Yes.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
So I literally just jumped right into all the spoilers and stuff, and I'm like, oh, that's weird.
If the narrative is well written enough, it's going to punch just as hard.
Yeah, if you have a
There-
heart.
there was-
if your viewing experience is about twists, watch a Shyamalan movie.
Well, and I think one of the big problems
just
with
not Avatar?
Oh no.
one of the major problems with
hurts.
The Last of Us Part 2, they fucking focus testing in groups and stuff. They tested out like some of what the game was made on, fans or just, regular gamers.
People didn't like it.
They didn't like it. So what they thought was like, we have this planned out. We're going to have a not leisurely, but we're going to have a regular production schedule. People didn't like it. They restructured the game. They rewrote it. Sorry, crunch, 6
Put it
months.
into crunch.
Do it now. Do it now.
Because that's how you make quality product.
Dominic, you're the only one who's beaten this game.
Wow.
What are your
I'm not.
thoughts?
So after we spoke about it last night,
We talked extensively.
yeah, we did. I actually think I like it a whole lot.
Okay.
I really do.
What parts do you like?
The thing that I think when I asked you guys last night, like I'm trying to figure out if I liked it or not, was not necessarily what was happening in the game, but the pacing of the game.
Sure.
Because you go through as Ellie, and then
Spoilers.
we're not doing.
We don't want to
that,
spoil
are we?
too much.
Okay.
There's a character shift that is unexpected and you replaying of certain parts of the
You
game.
basically restart the game halfway through. right?
But then,
So then you get to that point where
Yeah, the second level of the
you then
narrative.
take over as a different character and you go, oh, I've just now made a huge mistake because I realize after playing an entire game and half of this one that I've been playing as the villain the whole time.
And imagine this,
which is probably the biggest spoiler of all
like
time. Sorry, guys.
an Uncharted game. Imagine like 1,000 brown children upset at Nathan Drake because he's killed all of their dads.
Right.
listen, man, all these like descendants of people who got destroyed by the conquistadors.
Well,
just being like, fuck all of this.
When you then play as the second character, you then realize this whole world is fucked and everyone's the villain. It doesn't matter who you're playing as.
Really
which is
weird.
a fun twist, but also you're not being given the chance, like the choice on what you're doing. And I don't know.
But that takes away from the narrative. That takes away from the people who are making and creating this story to then give you that option.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
It's walking a weird line.
Right, which I am totally for, because as a piece of artwork, you are writing the story, and if George R. R. Martin went, "Hey, yeah, go ahead, DB Weiss and whatever the fuck your other name is,
Benioff.
go ahead and take my story and shit all over it,
So-
because you
Which
could just take it and make it whatever you want."
Which they did.
When
And it sucked,
but
Yeah, it was
right?
really
so
bad.
but like when you're playing the game, are you thinking about the hospitalized developers?
I think about it every time I think about every time I hear Last of Us Part 2.
It's a real shame how crunchy it's gotten. Tom brought up a good point last night when he was over drinking like a little bitch.
Yeah.
I just took him past the edge.
Well,
I made him jump off the cliff.
I mean, he mentioned like Jason Schreier. He's become sort of like his campaign is now to like fight
He's
crunch.
He's the Ronan Farrow of video games journalism.
And honestly, crunch isn't all bad if people are treated right about
with
it.
respect.
Because every video game I've ever heard of that's amazing, like we crunched hard. Like almost everyone across the board. One guy made Stardew Valley for like 35 years straight, whatever it is. But like he crunched all the time and it was his own thing. But
He did
crunch,
that
I don't think
himself,
is inherently a bad thing. Naughty Dog's approach to it where they're targeting young animators because like Last of Us Part 2, that one of the people said this could have been released a year ago if they would have hired talent that knew what they were doing and treated them right. Instead, they alienated everyone of value, and they're targeting young people that are desperate to get in the industry.
This is corporate America in a nutshell.
They specifically target perfectionists. Like in the interviews, like, do you want to strive to make sure you make the right decisions and work extra hard to make sure everything's perfectly
which
made?
everyone lies about in an interview anyway.
Well, but like that's
But they
they
sign
tell the
on
truth.
to that.
that's
shit.
part of their process, though, where they're targeting people that will subject themselves to 20-hour workdays. And
It's in like school that they're trained to think that way.
Yeah.
Literally, courses in colleges
why I was
have
so
you
bad
do
at it.
game development where you play a specific part of the game and you tell them how it works, and then they tell you that you did a shitty job doing it.
Yeah, I mentioned in the last episode that I was a computer engineer for the first couple of years of my college career.
Yeah.
And we had a building in the engineering department called Motel 6. And it was because they would always leave the light on for you. And that was one of the first moments I made a video game with a group of people.
It's a strange balance because I think crunch is a valuable tool that I think developers should be able to use sometimes. Your philosophy should not revolve around being able to crunch, but if you have 2 months and the game needs to get out and you can properly pay and treat, like, we're getting you pizzas, we're paying you extra, like whatever, we want you to
You're
stay
going to
late.
get 2 months of vacation after this.
We're taking a break and you're going to like, all right, we're in ultra crazy mode. We want to compensate you appropriately. And instead of we're hiring young people because they're going to fucking do it. I don't know.
Well, I mean, we're entering a new era in the workforce in general where it is not just wanted, it is expected of you to be a certain way in order to be successful. Whereas nobody in any other generation had to actually try this amount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's one thing when you have Jason Rubin and Andy Gavin, two wholesome little Jewish boys making math jam or whatever. Like, I don't know. They would probably do 10-hour days to make their little like Punch Out clone.
Yeah.
Fine.
And that's fine because that's up to that's up to because that's
What they were going to do no matter what.
I've worked way too hard on this podcast sometimes, but I enjoy it and it's my personal time. But a company that will also threaten NDA agreements if you don't agree to not talk bad about them, there is an issue there. Yeah. To bring it home with the whole Naughty Dog saga, let's each mention our favorite Naughty Dog game that they ever put out outside of Ski Crazed and Way of the Warrior.
Well,
let's start with you over here, Nick.
I can't participate.
I think it's gotta be Uncharted 2 because it was the only video game that I've ever played that really put me in the the driver's seat of an action movie, like a 90s action movie where just like stuff is exploding around you. It's all just chaos and madness and everything is falling into place. And I love the idea of Nathan Drake being just somebody running out his luck. I think that's a hilarious, wonderful idea to go along with the madness that goes along with that game. I'm also not a platformer, so
Uncharted 2.
yeah.
And yourself over here, Dom.
Mine's probably Last of Us 1. Just because of how great that storyline is. You're killing zombies rather than people
Sometimes.
for the most of it.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I still feel like I enjoyed Last of Us 2. But all of the Uncharted games, in my opinion, are pretty good. Even the fourth one. Sorry, Dylan.
I will play. I find these games entire. Let me be clear.
You can't have a party. You can't throw a party and not realize that the people that you've invited over, all 20 of them, are standing behind you, watching you.
People are like, is this a movie?
Watching you play this game and going, "What movie is this? Which Indiana Jones is this?"
Dominic, we're going to give you one follow-up, one-sentence answer. Which of the Jak and Daxter games is the best?
One.
Okay, that's all you need. Because you're the only one that might have chosen Jak and Daxter. Dr. D.
I'm Mr. Gameplay. I will praise gameplay above everything else. Everything else is just kind of icing on the cake. It's a tie between Crash Bandicoot 2 and The Last of Us.
Nice.
I feel like I already said my piece about it, so I really don't have to get too far into it. But I think they're both really they are perfected versions of their own craft and what they're trying to achieve. And that's the best thing I can say.
I'm going to kind of come out of left field here. Crash Team Racing, I probably got the most love, the most time played out of Crash Team Racing. I love all of Crash Bandicoot. Jak and Daxter 1, and I played most of the Uncharted games, and they're all fucking great, but Crash Team Racing is such a perfect kart racer, and I enjoyed it so much, and I think they struck gold with that game in particular. All their games are great. Naughty Dog, I think we all agree.
Right.
Fantastic development.
Make great games. They might be making some questionable decisions these days, but
I think they're headed towards the toilet. I'm going to be completely honest with you.
I'm in the same.
They're going to try and
the way that Ubisoft is shaking out too.
They don't have their
Ubisoft is going to be absolutely get your salt and pepper shakers out, baby, because it's all gone. It's done. There's going to be such an overhaul. It's not even going to be the same company when this is over.
Yeah, I have a feeling when they come out with Last of Us 3, it's just going to.
We brought this up last night, where if your body recycles every one of its cells over a few years, is it the same body? Naughty Dog is not going to have almost anyone around from the Origins anymore soon enough, and eventually it's just become a studio with a great reputation, with a great reputation, with some creative talent that makes a lot of really good decisions, but it's not the same people, and it's not Ruben and it's not Gavin, but instead we got Evan Wells and we have Neil Druckmann. He seems like someone that has his creation is more important than the people that suffer for it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is a problem, but also
But that's also been Naughty Dog's development over the last, 5 years?
I don't know, baby.
since Uncharted started, maybe.
Whenever I make a
Yeah.
drawing, I hate myself all the way through, and I suffer for it. But I don't want to make other people suffer for it. Sorry, dog.
Yeah, but if you don't have to suffer for it,
Naughty
and
Raw
then
Dog.
you get
I'm always
money.
gonna suffer for it.
All right.
Alrighty.
And,
And
so, Nick, if people wanted to reach out to us, how could they do that?
oh my gosh, you should totally reach out to us at Twitter at the Raw Dog.
Twitter at Hot Dog Cast.
Okay, great.
Okay, so Nick's still kind of new.
I wasn't any better.
We're
I have no idea.
We're on-
Give me a script.
We're on Twitter at Hot Dog Cast. We're on Facebook and Instagram. We're Hair of the Dogcast. Dylan, how can they support us on Patreon? Or
well-
tell us about something.
Yes. Well, we have a Patreon, and there are a ton of different tiers. In order to, it goes through every type of level. And what I will say is, if you donate enough, we're literally just going to take you out on the fucking town. We're going to all the glitz and glamour that you ever wanted, and you get to see us really say what we mean.
So yeah, go to Patreon. You can get access to this episode and other episodes way early because we talk too long and we keep drinking and it's very fun.
Yay.
And the part 2s are usually going to be Patreon exclusives for at least a year, maybe longer, until we get too hungover like Tom. And
It's possible.
Dominic, you have any final thoughts on anything?
Play all these games because they're all pretty good.
They all,
Yeah.
They're all
are
worth
excellent.
playing, I will say.
Every
Pretty
one of these
good.
games are worth playing. I think we'd all agree, like,
Even Warriors of the World.
Way of the
was it?
Warrior.
Wave the Warrior.
World Warriors, that's a Street Fighter thing.
I actually think that it might have gotten ported onto mobile. Weirdly enough.
I want to play it.
Thanks for listening to Raw Dogs. Y'all have been great. We love you, Andy Gavin and Jason Rubin. We love you, Nolan North. We love you, Troy Baker. We love
Ashley
you,
Johnson.
Ashley Johnson, Emily Rose.
Yep.
So many wonderful, talented people there. Neil Druckmann, Dylan would like to talk with you. We will.
I would. I have a few things to say.
We will see you all next time. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We love you.
Hey, Sugar Plum. You new here? Well, what you got that's, hot? And, wait, I've seen you before. You're with the Underground.
Shh, I'm Tess.
Ooh, I love undercover work, baby. But, two can work better than one. Wow, there sure are a lot of bottles back here. Hey there, Five Gins. How's crimes?
What's his problem, eh?
Nothing. I'm just fine. Mind your own business.